Well, if you walk through the Bronx, chances are you'll see people hard at work, maybe visiting Arthur Avenue or taking a trip to one of the largest zoos in the country. People just going through their day-to-day activities. But what you might not see is the Bronx's violent underbelly, drug cartels operating near where kids play and possibly near where you live. In our Heroin Homeland News 12 special report, Eric Stelzer reports on just how bad the problem is and what law enforcement is doing to fight back.
The DEA says the Bronx is being used as a heroin mill, so we got in one of these to find out why. The city of New York, a population of more than 8.4 million people.
New York City is ground zero for heroin trafficking in the United States.
That's James Hunt, special agent in charge of the DEA for New York, talking exclusively with News 12 from the sky above the Bronx.
We're going to enter the Hudson about 3 to 4 miles north of the George Washington Bridge
in one of the DEA's largest helicopters, taking us to the locations of some of the largest heroin trafficking busts in the Bronx.
We're rolling up on the 238 location right now.
The chopper is loud. He tells us the Bronx is being used as a heroin mill by gang members and Mexican drug cartels for massive drug operations.
So they're packing the drugs in New York, places like the Bronx, and distributing to other parts all across the country.
Yeah, New York is the hub. And for the Northeast, it arrives here first, and then it's dispersed in one of the small cities throughout the Northeast.
The Bronx's easy access to highways make it a prime area to set up shop.
Right in that area you're looking at now.
It's right off 95, a short distance from Route 80, which crosses the country.
Almost there.
And from most sections of the Bronx, you can get on a highway within a few minutes.
They might pay $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 per kilo for the Mexican cartels and sell it to another trafficker here in the States for $80,000. They make $10,000 just passing through the hands once.
In May 2015, the biggest drug bust in New York State history.
Drug organizations throughout New York City and in the surrounding area will be scrambling to find heroin.
And they were. 150 pounds of heroin seized, $2 million in cash taken from the Fieldson section in the Bronx. The drug street value, $50 million. We spoke with the New York City Special Narcotics Prosecutor, Bridget Brennan, who said the bust had immediate impact, affecting supply in Long Island and New Jersey.
And we know that because we heard it on wiretaps that we were running. And we heard it not only in the city, but regionally.
Brennan says law enforcement's goal is to control the supply while focusing on prevention and treatment. It's made more difficult when dealing with the violent cycles of the cartel. They have a seemingly endless supply of cash, and like the Fieldson case, are willing to risk it all to make money and get people addicted.
In that case, we also seized a couple of $1 million, which was going to be the payment for this load and part of a down payment on the next load that was coming in. That's the level of criminal that we're talking about.
There have been numerous busts since then, the DEA helping build cases from the ground and sky, and the Special Prosecutor's Office eventually putting traffickers behind bars.
Once we make the case, I can't think of a situation where we've had an acquittal.
The city uses wiretaps to track gangs and cartel members down, Brennan's team using them in court to build a case. But tracking them down is what's complicated. It's an elaborate system.
We've seen stuff smuggled, narcotics smuggled with tombstones, prostheses, fake legs.
The cartels also operate in cells. The DEA saying many members have no clue they're operating blocks away from each other, working for the same people. And when rival cartels cross paths, that's when law enforcement says blood spills onto the streets.
That's what you see when they have the violence comes into drug trafficking. It's wars. They're competing for a piece of the marketplace. The Sinaloa cartel, the biggest, everybody wants a piece of their market.
The DEA says the cartel prefer to operate in secret. These locations all near major heroin trafficking busts, near parks, tracks, highways, and in some cases, the suburbs. Law enforcement doesn't see them slowing down anytime soon. In fact, they're just looking for what's next.
Fentanyl is coming in from Mexico, but it originates in China. and it's being, the fentanyl that we've seized has been transported by the cartels.
Fentanyl can be 30 to 50 times stronger than heroin. Brennan says it's contributed to deaths in the Bronx, the borough, she says, with the most overdose deaths tied to the drug. Fentanyl is man-made and cut into heroin for 1/10 of the price, making it cheaper and more dangerous.
We've seized it cut into heroin, and we've seized it cut into cocaine.
Are they selling for the same prices too, or are they just saving money and then, you know?
Same prices.
Brennan says she will continue to put drug dealers behind bars from the ground, as others keep a watchful eye from the sky, trying to target a killer with no bounds, targeting the wealthy, poor, and middle class, with an injection and a possible lifetime of addiction.
You know, there's an addict population here that has a thirst for heroin, so they're going to keep on bringing it in. They're not taking a hiatus, you know, or vacations. It's a continual thing.
Wow, such a scary epidemic, but we really saw it, you know, from up in the air and just from those experts that are working to fight this problem too.
Yeah, right at the end of that story there, you saw Special Agent in Charge James Hunt, who said they made a lot of progress, a lot of significant progress, but there is still work to be done. The cartel is still operating right here in our borough. But the key is actually talking to people out there in the Bronx to actually stop it.
Yeah, and it's as simple as if you see something, say something, right?
Yeah, that's what he told me too. It's just one of those, the age-old saying, if you see something, say something. At the end there, we talked about that one bus that was over in the suburb, and in that case, it was you know, members of the cartel going out there, paying in cash for a home, and people there said, hey, something here, you know, it's a little fishy. Let's make a couple phone calls about it. So if you see something, say something, and who knows, you could end up saving lives, and you could really, you know, help stop a huge problem here in the borough.
Wow. All right. Well, great report, and hopefully, yeah, we have more on them, more busts happening. Thanks so much, Eric.